Putin bad news. As Russia's power wanes, Putin will be less protected from prosecution. The leaders of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa countries will meet in South Africa next month. But Russian President Vladimir Putin announced last week that he would not be attending. The leaders of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa countries will meet in South Africa next month. But Russian President Vladimir Putin announced last week that he would not be attending. It could be too risky, as many Ukrainians seek his assassination. He has been extremely cautious as of late, visiting only dictator-run post-Soviet states, and, in October, China. Nevertheless, South Africa would likely allow him to bring his own security team. Putin may be hesitant to travel outside of Moscow for the time being. Putin is looking vulnerable, and his absence in South Africa might tempt somebody else to try to take advantage of the situation. The Wagner Group mercenaries led by Yevgeny Prigozhin failed in their coup attempt late last month. Or perhaps he learned the hard way that the courts in South Africa are autonomous. That gets my vote, definitely. Putin has been wanted since March of last year by the International Criminal Court, ICC, for war crimes committed during the invasion of Ukraine. Putin may have originally thought the African National Congress, the party in power in South Africa for the past 3 decades, would shield him from arrest. As the ANC's older comrades remember the days of the anti-apartheid struggle, when most Western countries refused to aid the movement, there is a strong pro-Russian sentiment. Putin could expect President Cyril Ramaphosa to shield him from arrest because Moscow continues to covertly fund the ANC in various ways. However, as one of the 123 member states of the International Criminal Court, South Africa is bound by law to carry out its arrest warrants. The Democratic Alliance, South Africa's largest opposition party, petitioned the Gauteng High Court last week to order the government to arrest Putin if he visited South Africa, and the court issued its order last Friday despite Ramaphosa's efforts to stymie the courts. Ramaphosa had previously announced on Wednesday that he and Putin had reached an agreement for Putin to participate via video call in light of the aforementioned decision. The real winner here was the rule of law, both in South Africa and around the world, despite Ramaphosa's usual bumbling mess of an explanation, in which he claimed that arresting Putin would amount to a declaration of war on Russia. Think about what happened to Slobodan Milosevic, the leader of Serbia during the 1990s Balkan Wars that left thousands dead. After being deposed as president in 2001 due to an internal power struggle, he was turned over to an international criminal tribunal in The Hague by then Prime Minister Zoran Dindi. In 2006, while the trial was still going on, he passed away in jail. Vladimir Putin, then Russia's president, could not have been arrested at the time because great powers are immune to international law. Russia is no longer among the elite. Russia lacks even nuclear weapons to be considered a great power, and it's easy to imagine a new government handing Putin over to the International Criminal Court in exchange for international recognition and aid money. But that's not fair, someone screams. In response to the question, why aren't former U.S. President George W. Bush and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair in prison as war criminals for their illegal, and exceedingly stupid, invasion of Iraq in 2003? They should be, but they were heads of states of countries that are still major powers, making them effectively immune to international law. China, India, and the EU member states are all doing the same thing. But Russia is no longer an option, so Putin should stay away from nations with an International Criminal Court, ICC, and domestic courts that uphold the rule of law.